Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks, where we meet with the top thought leaders and strategists in emerging technologies, digital assets, and regulatory landscape and capital markets. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, and joining us this afternoon, we have Simon Freed. He is Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Business Development at Classiq. We also have Sean Brehm. He is Chairman and CEO of Spectral Capital. We're here to discuss how quantum computing, hardware solutions, and software applications could redefine technology for decades to come. It is great to have the both of you back with us. Welcome back to Trade Talks. Let's kick it off with you, Simon, first. Give us an idea of where the company sits within the quantum ecosystem.
Sure. So Classiq is a quantum computing software company. And one often hears a lot about hardware, and there are many companies who are actually actively engaged in developing a whole range of different quantum computing backends. And Classiq's role, as we see it in this industry, is to allow people to essentially code, right, the programming that you need to run on a quantum computer at the most abstracted, highest level, most approachable way to code a quantum computer.
Right. And Sean, if you can give us a high-level overview of where Spectrum is within the ecosystem.
Yeah, we're a quantum hybrid company. We're actually a quantum deep technology platform. We have our own chip, we have our own algorithms, and we have our own quantum ledger database, and we're just deploying on decentralized clouds today.
Yeah. So Simon, let's get to the basics here when it comes to quantum. We're finally wrapping our heads around AI and the possibilities that it entails. So what is quantum computing? How is it different than the emerging technologies that we're becoming familiar with today?
So quantum computing is obviously a deep technology, and anything that combines advanced math and physics and computer science is going to be something that is a very complicated area to be working on and developing. It takes some of the world's largest companies as well as leading universities and research organizations to work on this technology. So there's an international effort. This is of national importance to many countries and obviously critical for both the companies developing it, but the many companies that are looking forwards to being able to apply quantum computing to tackle some of those really difficult challenges, whether it's inventing new materials or optimizing any number of designs or logistics applications.
Yeah. And Sean, what industries would you say are either leading the way with quantum or have the most practical applications associated with it?
Yeah, with the industries that are obviously involved, the financial sector, but I'm going to actually go out on a limb here. And I think just because we're in that space, I think the semiconductor industry is going to come out as a winner here because we're actually leveraging engineering semiconductors to give them quantum capabilities. So I think you're going to start seeing a new player in the field, and that is the semiconductor industry is going to start jumping into this space.
Yeah. And Simon, we keep hearing about this hardware versus software divide. And it seems as if we're getting back into, okay, let's bring these two areas of tech back together and perhaps have more of a hybrid solution, if you will. Why is hardware coming back to the spotlight? And why is the industry looking to marry these two again?
So quantum computing maybe isn't that different to classical computing in the sense that on the one hand, you've got the hardware, you've got to make that run. And the way to make it run is by having the best possible software so you can run the programs that you need to run. Because quantum computing on the hardware side is still an emerging and evolving technology, and we're getting this fantastic news from many of the different players, whether it was Google in the last quarter or others like QEra and IonQ and Quantinuum, who are all essentially steadily pronouncing and announcing improvements both in the size of their machines as well as the reliability of their systems to run longer and longer programs with fewer and fewer errors or better connected errors. So the hardware world is going ahead leaps and bounds, and with every advance, the software needs to be able to keep up. And it's crucial that when you have access to the latest and greatest machine, regardless of who it's coming from, that you're able to get the very, very most out of it. And efficient software is the key to achieving that goal.
Well, Simon, let me ask you this question. We're seeing the private and public investments come in to quantum computing. Is the skill set, is the talent available? Because the technology seems to be evolving really quick and the investments are certainly behind it.
So I think like any very new cutting edge technology, it's making its way suddenly out of labs and out of the R&D groups in the companies developing the hardware. What we're beginning to see is perhaps within the industry per se, there are sufficient people working on the R&D. Obviously, more the merrier. One of the challenges that certainly lies ahead is workforce enablement. So as a technology like this comes in, are the companies out there actually able to benefit from it? Do they have the teams internally that can actually allow the rubber to hit the road? road. One might look at what happened in the world of AI. If one thinks of quantum as perhaps being similar to where AI was X years ago. Certain companies were skilled and had teams built up. Others are very much left to try and scramble and pull together teams or rely on third-party providers who might not be able to give them the customized results that they need.
Right. And Sean, let's talk about this for a moment here. Different practitioners that we have spoken with said 3, 5, perhaps even 8 years out, quantum will be as ubiquitous as the technologies that we are deploying today. Are companies, should they be investing in this now? Is it too late? How are enterprises approaching their quantum strategy at this point in 2025?
No, I think it's time to invest in, but I'm more pragmatic on that. If you're going to start investing in quantum, start first on post-quantum security. You want to make sure that you're already starting to put that in place. Then you can worry about the rest. I think what you're going to see in the hybrid space, especially guys like us, there are some great technologies out there that are ready already for, said it that way, ready already for quantum computing. I mean, look at a technology from Oracle called Graal. It's got incredible capabilities for the quantum era, especially as you start seeing more of us in the quantum hybrid space, where we're literally leveraging existing semiconductors. We can talk to the classical compute systems. We're just accelerating the transfer of the data at the speed of light. That's in the compute. So that means we can still leverage some of these just-in-time compilers to talk to and just make the existing software more efficient, because it's all about producing the right data at the right time with the most efficacy. And I think you're going to see when the quantum hybrid companies really start coming on board after the scientists have taken over, and now we're getting real engineers involved, you're going to see it's not going to be as daunting as people think. And I think they're going to want to immediately move forward. And I'll double down on the fact they want to start securing themselves first.
So Sean, when you say hybrid, does that mean not cloud only exclusive? Does that mean, bringing some of that data back in-house? What do you mean exactly by hybrid?
Well, so if you look at, everybody's saying there's quantum inspired. We see it as a hybrid strategy, because when you can take a traditional semiconductor that's currently going, we're going from 5 nanometers to 3 to 2 nanometers. Plasmonics operates in a really unique space at a tiny, tiny level. So you can actually leverage the use of plasmons to work with electrons in traditional chips, facilitate compute at near speed of light and transfer to speed of light. Now, all of a sudden, you've got a traditional interface back into your computer. You just have a much more efficient and dynamically much more powerful compute layer. It just means that you're going to be able to do more with the existing software you have. And so it's really going to, instead of these complex mechanisms to translate into quantum software, which I think we're still going to need to do, don't get me wrong. But in the short term, I think the hybrid, people that follow the hybrid route are able to see monumental improvement in their existing software that they're running today.
Right. I'm going to ask the same question of you, Simon. How should enterprises be thinking about their strategy, particularly when you're in the realm of cryptography? And I would imagine this is impactful to the financial services space in particular.
So I think the areas that got the initial attention from enterprise players across the verticals was this fear of encryption and decryption and the improvement to communication security. I think that's that sort of fear of loss was really the thing that got people's attention. I think most of the large organizations have or are in the process of dealing with that issue. There are now NIST standards out about what you ought to be doing for that kind of a scenario. What I think is the real question now is for enterprises to decide, is highly advanced computation, and quantum is just the next version of advanced computation. And it's good for certain things and not perfect for others. It's crucial that the enterprise figures out, is computation of the kind that quantum is very good at delivering on. If that's a strategic thing for you today in your business, then you need to be building your teams and working on your algorithms and developing your software, starting yesterday. If you're okay with having something that's an off-the-shelf product that is going to be more or less in the direction of what you need, you may very well find that you have reasons to remain on the sidelines and buy a sort of cookie cutter solution at some point down the road. But if you have computation at the core of your business, if you're in advanced engineering, if you're in finance, if you're in pharma, and you're looking to really crunch the numbers to solve the hardest questions, quantum is something that you should be investigating deeply already.
Right. And this is something where the hybrid approach bridges that gap until it's more, let's call it that 8 to 15 year time frame when it's more readily available, more scalable, if you will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, recently we worked on a project together with HPE, for example, one of the giants of the supercomputer world with their Cray systems, which go back many years in their name. And essentially, companies like that, the project we worked on was how do you coordinate the computation between a traditional supercomputer on the one hand and a quantum computer on the other. And ideally, compute is all about how expensive is it, how long does it take, what's the most efficient route. So some of your computation should remain and will remain classical with a traditional supercomputing system, whereas parts of it will be better served by the quantum algorithms because of what they're better at. In the best possible world, what you'll do is you'll combine those things, and then you have essentially a hybrid approach where traditional compute plus quantum compute is going to be better than either one on its own.
Mm-hmm. Sean, this might be kind of a silly two-part question. Will the technology that we're deploying today as it relates to AI, will quantum supersede that? Will it go away? And then my second question is, what's next after quantum, or we aren't ready to answer that question yet?
I think the answer to your first question on AI is I've been saying this all along on multiple channels. I think you're going to see artificial intelligence kind of run parallel for a short period of time, but I'm going to be the guy that says it's going to be subsumed, because when you can move a terabyte of data at near speed of light and you can persist it, you've essentially done something like NVIDIA's done, but on steroids. So now you get massive amounts of structured and unstructured data analyzed in near real time, to the point you're going to have something probably more efficient and more authentic with less hallucinations than you do in existing AI right now. So I think AI next 3 years, once the hybrid systems come on board, you're not going to need as much power to run them. You're going to have more efficient ability to run more efficient mechanisms for analysis. And you're going to see a new kind of AI emerge, which is probably going to be a little bit different than the landscape sees today. And I think that will eventually have quantum AI subsumed within the quantum space.
And that would be, I guess, what's next after quantum, or is there another technology entirely?
No, I think.
I mean, it just seems so hard to
Yeah.
to conceptualize, because it's happening so fast, and it's just remarkable with what we can do. It's readily available today. So even what's possible with quantum, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around.
No, it is. But when you think about, once you start getting to moving large volumes of data at near speed of light and you can persist that, it's going to change the way we look at analytics. As far as, looking at the current classical approach, or I would say not even classical, the current groupthink, which is very scientist driven on quantum, I'm bullish. I think within 3 to 5 years, you're going to see the hybrid market explode, and then we're going to see something else. And what that is right now, I got to be honest with you, I don't know. I can't really give you that magic look into the future right now.
Yeah. And Simon, we'll wrap up here too with your outlook as well. Another two-parter. What with this data that will become available at the speed of light, structured better, what will that allow companies to do? Number one. Number two, what's your outlook as we think about the next decade?
Well, as we've been seeing recently, there've been phenomenal steps forward on the whole quantum computing hardware side. Moore's law, which might be dropping off in the world of classical computers, seems to be alive still in the way in which the numbers of qubits in quantum computers continue to grow and grow. So there's a phenomenal horizon here where we can only expect to see more of that as those machines grow and get more stable. And it's very hard to predict how quickly and how solidly that's going to happen. You can be bullish about it. You can be somewhat pessimistic about it. But ultimately, the backwinds have been very strong of late. And it means that one really is looking at the ability to transform computation. It's very exciting to try and imagine where things are going. What we can see now is that the tech is delivering. And it's really a matter of, as we cross those various thresholds in this journey to the quantum future, the applications are going to be revealing themselves. It's very hard to predict, which is going to be the first, which is going to be the killer item. But there are so many candidates. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it certainly is. Can't wait to speak to you guys in 5 years from now and see how the conversation has evolved. We appreciate both of your insights in 2025. And thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.